It's a few minutes to 4 p.m. How much time do we have? 1 hour? 1 hour, not so? 45. Okay. So within 45 minutes, that's around 4:40. I'll be, summing it up. Q&A. Okay. So food as what? As medicine. Yeah. In the morning, we talked about a couple of things to do with our immunity, but also we noticed that food is directly related to our immunity as what? As soul is to the body. So the two cannot be separated. You have bad food, you have a bad immunity. You have good food, you have superb immunity. And just like good was turned to evil, food, is it bad or good? I mean, when we talk of food, what do we mean? For example, now I may want to know your name. I don't know your names, by the way. Sharon, eh? So, food. When we say food, what do we mean? Eating. Okay, that's good. So when you get bubble gum and you throw it in the mouth, eh? But you're shaking your head. You said food, eh? So when I get bubble gum and throw it in the mouth and I start eating, that's food. What's the difference between chewing and eating? Okay. So what else? Any other person? Yes? Your name? Yeah. Jovia. Yes, Jovia. Mm-hmm. Can be of use. Okay. Introduce the body. Yeah. Okay, so she was wiser, yeah? And knew where I was. She knew where I was headed, so she tried to block. Yeah. So you have had anything you introduce to the body and is of purpose, not so? Yes. Let's look at let's look again at this verse. You see, Genesis and Revelations, they are sisters. Much as people think they're totally separate. That the one was written at the beginning, one was written at the very end. But one starts the news or the journey of the great controversy, the other one finishes the journey of the great controversy. And whatever you find in the beginning, you find in the what? In the end. So Genesis 1:29, where we read in the morning, then we also read at the beginning of the trouble. 1:29, what does it say? Yeah, so and God said, behold, I've given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for what? For meat. While we were talking with the elder there, at lunch, was telling me about the GMOs and, the hybrids, the sprays all over the food. And so one of the questions that came up was, how is it even possible for a vegan diet to be truly vegan when there is sprayed all over? Yeah. Then the other thing was to do with mixing and all that. Then as God finishes the great controversy, Revelations chapter what? Chapter 22. Revelations 22, verse what? Verse 1 and 2. So as he finishes the great controversy, notice what he says. Actually, this is the great controversy ended, not so? This is the great controversy ended. He says, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. And verse 2 says, and in the midst of the street of it, on either side of the street was there the tree of what? Life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the what? For the healing of the nation. So when there is healing, it means there was what? When someone says there is healing, it means there was what? There was disease, yeah? So there was disease previously, and so that is why there is a need for healing. So that's why we're looking at food as what? As medicine. Good can be turned into bad. Good can be turned into bad, just like God can turn bad into good. How is that possible? For he made him who knew no sin to become what? Sin for us. So it's the same way he gets that which was lost, and through the mystery of his power turns it into what? Good. So the mystery of godliness is how a bad person, how a fallen man, how good comes out of them. First, that is Colossians 1:26 and 1:27. Christ knew the hope of what? Glory. How fallen human beings like you and me, how good can come out of them? It cannot be explained. It's a mystery. How can people who have fallen for 6,000 years do good when we would expect only bad things to come out of them? So the same thing happens in the mystery of iniquity. The mystery of iniquity is, how is it possible that someone who is good, someone who is known to be good, how can evil come out of them? How can someone who stood in the very presence of God, how can evil be found in him one time? The same thing happens to the systems that come out of him. How can systems that seemingly religious and they open the Bible and they're talking about God, how can they be the very powers behind evil? That is the mystery of what? Iniquity. So when we come back here, food as our medicine, he's usually called the father of medicine, though the father of medicine, the true father of medicine is who? Jesus Christ, not so? But yeah, in the medical circles, he's called the father of medicine. One time he said, let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy what? Be thy food. And do no harm to your what? Patients. Hippocrates 460, before the birth of Jesus. And so when we look at the classes, we're going to look at how food can be used as medicine to us, but also how it can become poison. Okay, so food can be categorized into macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients and micronutrients. I hope you have it's off grid. So macronutrients, the ones which we would call big or heavy, we have carbohydrates, we have proteins and fats. Then the micronutrients would be minerals and vitamins and fibers. That is the major category in which we have all those foods. Carbohydrates, those are the macronutrients. Then the proteins and fats. Then the micronutrients, minerals, vitamins, and fiber. So when we come back to our day and age, what usually happens is we majorly concentrate on the what? On the first list, on the first one on the list. And not only like putting much emphasis there, we eat that one which has been what? Destroyed. So that is the major cause of the problems. Now you can flip on to the next slide. Next slide, please. So these ones are always missing in our diet. Vitamins, enzymes, minerals, they are always what? Missing. For example, when you go on a site where there is construction, what do you usually see at lunchtime? At a construction site, Charles? Posho, eh? Which volume? Mountain, eh? You wonder whether these guys, so you see mountains, but whatever they're eating, there is virtually no nutrient at all. And that is very common on all our what? On all our serving plates. And that is the reason why the words are piling up by the day. Aside diseases brought about by the pandemics, you discover that most of those ones are because of what came from our what? From our plate. Now, on average, the dietary intake usually ranges from around, usually is around 10%, okay? When you look on the left, we have that which we consider good, or what, that which God, not we, but what God considers what? As good. We see fruits, we see veggies, we see nuts, grains, and what? And seeds, as he said in Genesis 1:29. When you look on the left, we have that which we consider good, or what, that which God, not we, but what God considers what? As good. We see fruits, we see veggies, we see nuts, grains, and what? And seeds, as he said in Genesis 1:29. Then, on the other side, again, I was getting another testimony from the elder. We see, what do we see there? Flesh, foods. Now let's have a discussion. I don't want to lecture. What do you think of that list? You can say, me, I agree with that, or I don't agree with that. So on the right-hand side in yellow, we have flesh, we have fish, we have mollusks. I was also with friends from UG or somewhere on the coast, and they brought a table. They laid before us a table, like a king would lay before you a table. And most of my friends, as usual, ran to the dishes where there was a lot of fries. And to their shock, when they reached on their plates to start eating, there were some shells, ebisusunku. Now imagine, at least generally here in Uganda, we don't eat things in shells, do we? Generally in Uganda, I've not found a culture where they eat things in shells. No. So these guys, to their shock, on the plates there were shells. Like, guys, you are eating snails. But there were other things from the sea, so they had to take back. Now I'm asking a question. I want honest answers there. What do you think? Just give your honest opinion. What you think. You don't have to be correct, or you don't have to be wrong. What do you think? The list on the right, the list on the left. Are they bad, the ones on the right, yet they're very nice? Especially the first 3, 4. The first 3. Yes? Yeah. Okay. Charles says fish is not so bad, but it's bad and not so bad. It's 50-50. Real food. Okay, yes. Yes, Jovia. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Once in a big while, correct? Foods like fish and chicken. Because they said white meat
Mm-hmm.
is not bad.
Have you seen white meat before?
That's what they always Timanya, you do fish and
Mm-hmm.
chicken. I don't know that much about it.
Okay.
That's what I've heard of replaying.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. I don't know your name. My name is Tendo. Yeah. Okay, Moses Grace. Yes. When is fish bad?
Deep fried.
Who don't do what? Oh, don't put cooking oil. Okay. 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 So, okay, there is that question. Why is it considered bad? Any other opinion? I love the opinions. So, no opinion. So, Moses, do you live near River Nile? Do you okay. I knew why you asked such a question. You okay. So okay, any other opinion? Yeah, it's good to like air out your mind. Charles said it's not so what? Not so bad. And that is what we're growing up into. But you remember, we are on a what? We are people on a what? On a journey. We are a people on what? On a journey. Again, another question come up that Jesus, he fed how many people? 5,000 people. With what? With bread and fish. Not so? How many fish were they? They rested the fish. Even when he resurrected, he said, even when he resurrected, he said, bring me what? Bring me fish. Not so? And the bread was not unleavened. We don't know whether it was leavened or unleavened. So anyways, the issue is the issue is very simple. One, the human condition, the condition of the legs, how are they right now? He's an engineer. I don't know, civil works? Mechanical. If he was in civil works or water, they will tell you what happens at Luzira. But at least some of you have passed via Luzira. Not so? From factories, from factories, where else? Then from our sewers. Where do they go? They go there. And what happens to that? And the swamps are all being what? Cleared and swept. You remember the swamps? God has allowed them to come to basically help us filter, such that the water is much cleaner when it goes back to the lake. But we are clearing them and putting houses there. So, in short, when those nice creatures in the water, when we get them out, they have gathered pollution for their lifetime in their bodies. How many months? Like 9 months. I don't know what time they usually captured. 9, a year. But 9-month fish is ready. Yeah. So they have gathered pollution for 9 months in one what? And you eat that in one what? In one meal. So God in his wisdom, that's why he later says they are not, because prior to the floods, what happened? God said, these are clean, these are what? Unclean. These are clean, these are unclean. These are clean, these are unclean. The world then was not so much polluted. But another person will argue that there are ponds where there is no what? There are ponds where there is no pollution. Yes, Jovia?
For me, my concern is,
Yes.
now you're talking about the pollution in fish.
Mhm.
But again, because the vegetables themselves. These
Yes.
days,
Yes.
no, I'm talking about vegetables. These days, the vegetables, they are
Yes.
also seriously polluted.
Yes.
This one, someone said, someone dresses up, like fills all their body to go and what? And pour, pour onto cabbages, those cabbages, tomatoes, what? To put what chemicals onto those vegetables. Yet they cover themselves, but these vegetables are later brought up to the market for us to eat. So you cannot
Absolutely.
grow or have to eat.
Absolutely. So there is that other challenge. How comes we say those ones are polluted and these ones are not what? So what should we go with? Should we go with both, since all are what? All are polluted. So like what we saw in the morning, God is a what? Is no what? Is not a man that he should do what? His word is. Certain things he allowed not because it was his purpose or his will, but because of the hardness of our hearts. For example, divorce. Is divorce legal today? Is it acceptable? Even in those days. But was it good? One time Jesus, what did he say?
If you divorce, you should not marry again unless you go for the one that divorced.
Is that what Jesus said? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Moses said you divorce and you can be married. Jesus' statement said when you divorce, you should never marry unless you go for that.
Mm-hmm. That what? Mm-hmm. It was because of the hardness of your what? Otherwise, it was not like that from the beginning. Meaning it was not God's purpose for divorce. What does that mean? It means in the first place, there could have also been a problem in the dating period of these people. Because by the time you make that vow, you have checked most of the things, especially with God. Because the people that are getting married, it is encouraged that they pray how many times a day? 4 times. 4 times. That if you have been in the business of praying, you should pray how many? 4 times. If you are anticipating, if you are about to say, I do. To check whether God is in this thing or not. If he's not, and you ask an honest opinion from him, he will. There are prayers which God answers, where you don't have to wait a long time. You say them, God answers. And those ones I've seen. If there is missionary work or if there is evangelistic work somewhere, these ones I've seen. And you ask God that, God, there is A, B, C, D. We want this. An answer will come. Then an answer to do with marriage. People that are still courting and dating. You ask an honest opinion. You go on your bed and you don't say, God, I like her, but, you bring her to me. No. God may not answer that question. But if you say, if it is the right way, guide me. If it is the wrong way, break it. He will break it if it is the wrong way. If it's the right way, those are answers I've seen God answer. So, God said somewhere in Genesis, that shall be our food on the right, and he did not lie. Then later on in Genesis chapter 3, he added something, the vegetables. Yeah? Cabbage, what else? Spinach, those ones, he added. Then later on in chapter 7, because of the hardness of hearts, he said, now guys, these are clean, these are what? Unclean, because human beings had started eating. So he said, okay, because you guys have started eating, again, I don't want you to suffer so much in the short life of sin you have. In the short life of rebellion which you have. I don't want you to even suffer so much. So, again, I'll give an example. Sorry, I'll keep referring. He told me an interesting statement that in Korea they say, if it flies in the air and it is not a what? It's not an aeroplane, they eat it, the Koreans, South Koreans. If it walks on the ground and it's not a what? 4 legs and it's not a table, they eat it. Now such a mind, if it goes under the water and it's not a submarine, they eat it. That it's a slogan in South Korea. I didn't know that. Now such minds are a rebellious mind. So that is why God sets things apart right from the start and says, guys, eat this. And yet he's told me they have more veggies and fruits that we don't even have here. So for me, I thought it's just because of the conditions. So he said, these ones you shall eat, these ones you shall not eat. So chapter 7, he goes on and says, okay, because of that, these are unclean, you may eat them. Sorry, these are unclean, don't eat them. These are clean, you may do what? Eat. And that is what we see there. But like you said, it's your honest what? Opinion. So what God does, he sets before you a path. Path to life and a path to what? To destruction, and you pick. So now let me ask a question. At least when you go to hospital, you've heard of people who have been diagnosed with cancer, diabetes, hypertension. What do the first things doctors say? What do doctors say in the first place on this list? From this list, what do the doctors say? They encourage this side. Charles, do doctors encourage you to go on with molasses? Molasses. Say, go on and take more beef. What do they say? Because usually, ideally, when we eat these ones on the right, what do they produce? They produce acid. They produce uric acid, which is very dangerous. Such that in your years of evening, in the days of your evening, when you're clocking 50, 60, 70, 90, you start getting problems like what? Arthritis, back problems. Does anyone have their elders crying of back problems? Do you know what's the cause of that? Any doctor, when you go to the doctors, what do they say? What do they do for such patients? Eat chigere. Is that is that what the, is that what the doctors say, that eat chigere? They usually start them on painkillers. A time reaches whereby they say even painkillers can no longer do what? Help you. But the problem is uric acid has accumulated. And you see, when that acid accumulates in the body, it goes nowhere else. It looks for calcium. It looks for calcium, and it looks for the joints. That is where it is deposited as solids, real solids. It is deposited there. So these joints can no longer move. And yet these joints have fluids to move, but they can no longer what? It happens to the back as well, and the legs, and But natural remedies can always reverse that. Very simple. With piri-piri, you can reverse that slowly. Piri-piri and vegetable juices, that condition can be reversed. If it is not on very, very advanced stages that the cups have been eaten away. So, anyway, that is what God said, the one who created the bodies, and for us we have to do what? To choose. So let's go on to the I know the next one is also tricky. The next one is also tricky. Some of those ones we don't know, but I'll just comment on the list on the right, especially the first three, 4. White rice, which we just ate. That was white rice, given a color of brown. Okay. But I hope some of you have tasted brown rice, not so? How is it like? It's good. Okay. How about brown chapatis, brown flour? Anyone tasted them? How do they be like? So what we just had down there was white rice, colored with brown. It is not real brown rice. That is human engineering. Humans will always come up with something similar to what God intended. Like Adam, his clothes, they went off. Adam was dressed in a garb of light in the beginning, like angels. So when they sinned, the thing went. So they saw themselves that, man. So that is when they saw that they're naked, they came up with a plan. That is when fashion and design started. The first fashion show God did was not in what? In accordance with this. No, I don't like that fashion. So he came up with what he wanted. So it's the same thing with this food. So there is brown rice, real brown rice, with a cover on the top, which is, I don't know why it is expensive. It is expensive, 10,000 plus a kg. That's the working of Satan. Then this white flour, which should be brown. Brown, at least that one you know. You can always get seeds from eastern Uganda, I think, and you do it. You take it, they grind it for you. Then white sugar, there is also brown sugar. It is also very expensive, I don't know why. And it's not common, but you can always get molasses. You can always get molasses, which is called what? Karodo? Karodo, yes. It is the same thing. So the same thing with pastries. Bread and pastries, you can always do with the one that is wholesome. The rest of the things, they should not be much a problem. The sugared cereals, it's so much the same. If you deal with the first 3, then you have a solution to to number 4 and 5. Then there is number 6. That is still a problem. Number 7 it should not be a problem here. I don't think there's a person with a problem there. So number 6, soft drinks, good or bad? No, be honest, be honest. You see, when Adam came to God, God asked him, no, when God came to the garden, he was like, Adam, where are you? Instead of saying things are messed up, what did he say? The wife that you gave me. So God wants honest. Just be honest. That woman you gave me. So God was the problem. So now question is honest opinions. Good or bad? Bad? How about the test? Sin is sin sweet? Sin is sweet or not sweet? Guys, be honest. Sin is like a soft drink. By the way, the writer of Job says, we drink it as water. Human beings drink sin as water. So we are naturally like, it is natural only for us to do that. It is only that God comes with a battle and says, now I'm separating you between the woman and the serpent, and the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. Otherwise, if God does not do that, it is naturally sweet to us. The psalmist says in Psalms chapter 80 what? Let me see. I think it's 83. Yeah, it should be 83. Psalms 83. Imagine that baby you are holding, miracle, baby miracle. When you just brought her out of the stomach, yeah? The psalmist says she came out speaking lies. But have you ever seen your baby saying lies? Now, that is what the psalmist says. I think we should find that psalm, Is it 83 or... Okay. That the wicked come from the what? That the wicked are estranged from the womb. They speak lies as soon as they are what? They are born. So we are born with the tendency of doing evil, whether we want it or not. We just find ourselves doing that. It's only God who comes and says, you have a problem from creation, and I have a solution for you. Don't worry. That is the only solution. Aside that, so when we come back here, obviously, they're out. Some of the things that come with the so-called soft drinks, what are they? Preservatives. And preservatives are very dangerous to the kidneys. Yes? Yes. Yes. So you'll always see there artificial colorings, artificial flavors, preservatives. The preservatives are one of the most causative agents for the rampant kidney failures, sodium benzoate and others. Then the artificial sweeteners like MSG and aspartame. You eat something is so sweet. Here they will tell you sugars, but they don't tell you which kind of sugars. Aspartame, 1,000 times sweeter than sugar, so it is very good for what? For commercial production. You get something like this, you put it in a large volume, it sweetens the whole thing. Then why do I have to go and buy a kilogram of 4,000? Yet this thing is just 500. 4 kilograms will maybe do something like 40 or 50 liters. I don't know. Why do I have to, So such kind of things. Aspartame, very dangerous again to the brain and all others. It is progressive. It is not instant, but it is really, really. So you can go to the next slide. So you notice, first hold it there. So on the carbohydrates, our daily intake is around 80%. The previous list, it was around 10%. Yeah? Proteins, 10%. Then this one, 80%. Then fats, the next list. Fats. Fats. That one also what? 10%. Now let's look at the categories, yeah? Yes. Yes. Banana. Mm-hmm. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Yeah? Okay. Well, we come from different what? Backgrounds. So the compiler of these comes from a different what? He comes from a different background. But I wouldn't say the green bananas that it's the only thing, or it's the only one among the among that family that is good, that the rest are bad. The apple bananas, which I like very much, then bogoya, which I also like very much, they're all good. Then gonja, then apple bananas, ndizi. Olungereza bannange obuzibu oluusi olulimi olugwira. Okay, ndizi, chivuvu, ndizi, chivuvu, gonja. Because these people, actually, when you go to Kenya, what they call ndizi that's something totally weird. Anything like a banana to them is ndizi. And when you ask Bogoya, down south there, when you ask for bananas, you would even cry. They would give you some. Have you seen ripe matoke? They would give you that as bogoyas that you eat. You go to the market and that is what you have. That is what they are selling. They will give you that. That I want bananas. They will give you those. Yes, but what I'm saying is what they have as their best. What they would give you as bogoya. You'd go to the market and they'll give you something like that as bogoya. But here we have ndizi, gonja, chivuvu, what else? Musakara. I don't know how even musakara looks like. There is embide, kayinja, kasubi, chisubi, nachitembe, all those ones. And those ones, here people just use them for juice. Nothing else, juice. You see? So that's a good observation. All that family, they are good to eat as they are. So when we come to this list again, comparisons, fats, 10% on a daily basis. But where do we always fall as human beings as usual? On the yellow list, we have meat, fish, dairy, poultry, butter and margarine, lard, then veggies, vegetable oils. They usually tell us they are unsaturated. Then on the good side, we have avocado, which has saturated fats, but they are not similar to the other ones. I don't know so why, but it's like that. Then we have mature ones. Under sesame, that is simsim. What else? No wonder when you go to northern Uganda, there are certain trends in health that usually vary. When you look at the kind of food that is eaten there, especially in the nuts, what kind of paste do they do? Do they usually do? Chipoli. Odi is mixed with what and what? Simsim and ginat. Very nice. Very nice. So someone comes out with a very strong. What is moyao? Shea butter. Very nice. So someone eats with kalo and they grab you and, my friend, their bones are hard as brass, like the one in Job says. Yeah? Because this person is eating wholesome food. And for you, are just eating a mountain of posho, and you're calling it that number one. Nambemu. When it is rubbish. That guy eats kalo, and you know kalo is wholesome. Yeah. Then you eat sesame and nuts, and then he eats those herbs. Has everything in their diet. You see? And for you just eating peppers, nambemu and you see? So yes? Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, the list I know the list on yellow is a favorite, yeah? Yes. Yes.
Because they grind them with a grinding machine. So
Mm.
they are processed.
Mm. Okay.
But they don't remove. It's processed. They're grinding that.
Mm. So
They're grinding.
let me ask a question. Okay, by the way, it's a good observation. The one I was speaking in the context of Olubengo. You know Olubengo? Yes? Yes, that one. Yes. But even then, Kalo, I don't know. Kalo, when they do it, do they put off? They don't. They don't. But this number one, which we eat here, here number emu, it is rubbish. I'm telling you the truth. Have you ever tasted like wholesome maize when they have ground it, chikosolo, as it is? Does it have the same taste as? They're totally different. And you get filled. But now the challenge. The number you do what? You clear. Mama is in big trouble. So please, now this goes back to the ladies, because at the end of the day, you dictate what goes on the plates at home. The ladies. This goes back, and you also listen, Jovia, and Sharon, you listen. This is very important. But most of the diseases that root from home, they come from home, it's because of poorly prepared food. It causes diseases that takes the people to the grave. So it's very important that you change the generation. Some of our parents, we teach them these things, but they are like, yes, but they go back. But you can change the generation. And say, me from now on, and those who will come after me, this is the education they'll be having. But our parents, it's hard to change an old man. Very hard. You tell them, they say, yes, I know, but I have no problem. I have nothing to do. This is what I want. But us, we've known. So, so the list on yellow, it's the deadly zone. Then the list on the other side, it's the what? It is the ideal which God purposes for all of us. And you notice that the one on yellow, we usually take on a daily basis. That is what we usually take. So, yes? Mm. Mm. Yes. Mm-hmm. The G. And it's nice, by the way. Yes, on the yellow zone. True. Like we said, sin is what? live on, live longer. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you, this generation, what kind of work do you do? You're in front of the screen how many hours? Some of us spend, you're in front of the screen for over 8 hours. Some of you spend, but those people, like my granny, she used to go in the morning at 8 and come back at 7. At least that one I experienced before she died. In the garden, she would go at 8. Then you take omuramba for her. You say, hey, you bring for me omuramba at 12. Then you take omuramba for her. She drinks those ones. Then she would eat a lot of herbs. Then very little carbohydrates. That was her life. Then she comes back in the evening when the sun is set already. At least that one I saw. It was consistent. She was a meat eater, an ardent meat eater. Though she never ate other things. But now, us, the lifestyle right now. First of all, the things we're feeding on that cow, it has been given several shots. You are also taking shots. It grew on hormones. It has grown on hormones, and that is what you're feeding on. And that one changes your DNA. That one alters your DNA, such that the babies you give birth to, they have heart problems, kidney problems, what problems. Go there in the words. There are strange diseases I never saw while I was growing up. It was a taboo to hear of cancer. Someone, they have cancer. You would know that. The whole village would be like, but these days it's a common thing. It has become common. Diabetes, common. Children are born with diabetes. Children are born addicts. Guys, don't laugh. It is serious. Children are born like alcohol addicts. What else? Children are born addicts. Children, I find 6-year-olds who are obese. 6-year-olds, and they're obese. And I think even the parent is what? Is proud because the baby is. But I never saw those things while I was growing up. I've just seen that currently. What is happening? There is a gap in the generation. Those parents of ours, why they so much persist and why they are in a way right is someone who is eating pork and beef, and they work out regularly, and they're always in the sun. They almost do what is better than you, who eats an almost wholesome diet, and you just sit there. You are passive. You have a passive life. That person is better than you because they find a way of pushing the poisons out. So when someone tells you, for us we did that, but what was their way? If the cattle rearized, they would be on the, in the wilderness, 24 hours with their cows, chasing them, doing what? And so they were fit. But these days, you take G, my friend, 2 minutes, you are dozing off. So that's it. So when you go to the next, so that is why we still have that there. You can go on to the next one. That one was about how you should use your money wisely. And again, we categorize that it's a painful experience. Some of these things, each one of us has their own weak point. Me, I'm not tempted by meat. Yeah, even chicken. But there are certain things where I get tempted, like cake. So I'm being what? I'm being honest, yeah? I'm being honest. Getting us, Elder was telling me about connection between the spiritual and health, yeah? There is a battle. When God is trying to get us out of sin, it is a battle. It is not something that comes in one day. It is a what? It is a battle. It is sanctification. Salvation is 3 phases. Justification, sanctification, glorification. The hardest part is what? Sanctification. Where the Jews crossed the Red Sea and now they are in the wilderness. The wilderness experience is sanctification. God was trying to take Egypt out of their hearts and out of their experience. It's the same thing that God goes through. That's why most of them died where? In the wilderness. So, cutting ourselves out of Egypt, it's a painful experience. But God has promised victory. And so we should not lose sight of that. Say abanange. Nzoba nyama tebe mugulu yesijagenda. There are people who have sworn like that. Yes, Charles. Yeah? Yeah. 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 It's expensive. Roji funye. How is that? So my answer would be, okay? So let's read this verse in Isaiah. Perhaps it may give you Isaiah, is it 66? Verse 3? You can begin from verse, Isaiah 66. You can begin from verse 2, then verse 3. Then we to those final ones which we know as. So what does it say? Charles, verse 2. Came to be. Trembles at my word, yes. What is an ox? A bull. What is a bull? It's a cow. Say it as it should be. It is a what? It is a cow. And they belong to the same what? Yes. It's like saying I'm in the city of Mbuzi, na India, Engabi. Engabi and goats, they are the same what? They're the same family. So, he that killeth an ox is a what? Or a bull? Go on.
He who slaughters an ox is like one who kills a man. He who sacrifices a lamb, like one who breaks a dog's neck. He who presents
a lamb.
He who presents a grain offering, like one who offers pig's blood. He who makes a memorial offering of frankincense, like one who blesses an idol.
Anyways, the concept I just wanted to bring out there was the first parts of that verse, just in this context. So where we are going, you remember we are people on a journey, yeah? We are people on the go. The Advent movement, not so? The Advent what? Movement. We are a people on the go. Exactly. Church militant. So remember in the sanctuary, and what makes us Jews? You know we are Abayudaya, not so? What is that defines us Jews as Abayudaya? Sabiti. Okay. Sabiti. Okay. Sabiti. What else? Like what? So our principles, not necessarily that we do them, but our principles, that it's what defines us and likens us as to Abayudaya, not so? And one of the greatest one is the sanctuary message. Hebrews chapter 8, chapter 9, it talks about the sanctuary. And it talks of the great high priest in the what? Who is gone into the holies of holies. And then Revelation chapter 14, verse 3 or 4. We can even read there. Is it? Revelation chapter, someone just corrected me the other Sabbath that it is Revelation, not Revelations. So I'm still learning how to, yes, the Revelation. So when you look at Revelation chapter 14, verse 3 and 4, what do they say?
And they were singing a new song before the throne and before the four living creature
Mm-hmm.
and before the elders.
Mm.
No one could learn that song except the 144,000
The 144,000.
who had been redeemed from the earth.
Uh-huh.
It is these who have not defiled themselves with women, for they are virgins. It is these who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These have been redeemed from mankind as first fruits for God and the Lamb.
Now these are the key things I want to pick out. So these are the 144,000. They follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth. Who's the Lamb?
Jesus Christ.
Who of you here follows him? Have you ever seen where he is? So, have you seen any Jesus physically where he is right now?
No,
So, where is he?
it's in our hearts.
Yeah? In the most holy. What is he doing there?
Interceding for me.
So, he is there, and by faith you believe some things you have never seen, and you follow those things, not so? And in the most holy, when you go back to the Old Testament, what was there? The Ark of the Covenant, having the Decalogue and the mercy seat, grace, Echisa, and then the cherubims. What else? Those ones people know. Aaron's rod that budded. Aaron's rod that budded, and he brought what? What did it bud? Only a leaf. Aaron's rod that budded. What else did it bring? Did it not bring fruits? Aaron's rod that budded, it brought fruits. Imagine something like this on the pulpit, this one. It brings leaves here, and then you see apples here. Will you stay in this room? You start seeing apples coming out of this thing here. Would you? Okay, that is what literally happened, okay? Then what else? Aaron's, the pot of what? Pot of manna, okay? Signifying the kind of food in the way whithersoever he goes. So simple things. Sometimes we look at them, those are simple things, Obobuntu butono. But obobuntu obutono, do you know that it cost Daniel a life? And in chapter 2, Daniel would not have made it if he failed in chapter 1.
Yeah, sure.
And chapter 2 gives a step to chapter 3. Chapter 2, he graduates to now go into the image and his friends. And when the final test comes, the final fiery test came, he said, no, for us we stand. Do you know that only that, it is because the world is suffering right now. Just because of the fruit. Just take your chibala once in a, kwali kuzanyirira, and the whole world is filled with misery today. Once in a while. So it actually looks simple, by the way. Once in 5 months. But pray to God. The 144,000, they follow Jesus wherever he goes. There was no guide in their mouth. Then the other characteristics we saw about them was, as we go into the next phase now, because time is run out, the other bit that you read in verse 4, redeemed among. There is a song that they learn to sing. What song is that? Which song is it? Which song is it, Nan? I'm asking. What is the name of that song? Hey. Redeemed? He's saying us redeemed. Is that the title? Okay. The guys who came out of Egypt, yeah? The guys who came out of Egypt, not so? They went through the Red Sea, they were baptized in the Red Sea, then they entered the desert, the wilderness. Immediately they sang with Miriam, the what? The prophetess. What did they sing there, those words? Experience. They sang and they said, who is a mighty man of war like you, Lord? Who did this? Who did that? Who did this? The battles we are going through, it's an experience. No one understands your experience, and no one understands my experience. The battles that I've failed, the victories that God has given me, the final victory I anticipate God to give me over my sins, it is my experience. I cannot transfer it to another person. So that is the same experience. One day when you overcome that, you'd give God glory. We may not finish this, but we're going to the final phase, because it's 55 minutes actually ahead of after 4. So in the remaining time, there were just a few questions which were there. We look at them, then we handle. I think I'll give Sharon a chance. She had a question. You want to address it now? Yeah? You what? Satisfied? No. We're not going to finish this. It's a long presentation. We're done. We're done with this. That was just...
Mine was not a question, eh? Yes. Remember when I found you, I said you told. Like me, I have a problem. I have a problem of sinuses, eh? And I remember in the morning, why you talked, in the morning you talked, I'm sorry, in the morning you talked about sinuses, eh? But I don't recall why you talked them in which topic. But I don't recall the topic that. But I have sinuses. They do disturb me a lot, especially when it's too cold. I don't know. What should I do then?
What's majorly on your plate? What do you eat on a regular basis, Sharon?
Now what can I say? Oh, mommy, I eat. No, but me, I eat everything.
As long as it is not a table.
But in most cases, like...
As long as it is not a table, you eat it.
But no, like... But, like, to be sincere, most of the time I eat maybe fried food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fried food. Which food?
Like those... What?
The ones that have been on the yellow or the white?
The yellow.
Okay.
Yellow. But for sure, I'm really disturbed. And sometime back, before my daddy's death, I was to be operated. Because they said, you know, the sinuses inside the eyes. Like these things they swell when it's cold. Sometimes even in high school, I used even to find, like, when it was too cold, I sneeze, then the eyes and the ears could gamba.
I have my friend who was operated on. Up to now, he has problems.
Yeah, they talked about operation, and like they were to operate me in senior 6 vacation there, and then my dad was like, let's first wait, because he was fearing, he was afraid. And then after some time, I went, because they had a specialist. I used to go there and he could check me, he could say just first wait. But sometimes when I sneeze, I over sneeze, I smell like, you know, or I call them like weird smell comes, or like blood, rotten things. You feel like they are falling from there, like they are falling inside. I don't know what to do. I've taken several tabs. I even went to a certain doctor for him, I used to to go there after like 4 days. He could get a syringe and pierce there. You know how they call them in English? Those things in the nose. Hija. How do they call them? So you could pierce those things. He used to tell me that man, there is much blood in my head, and that blood man, when it wants to come this side and finds some blockage, so it stays here. So he could just pierce, and then that blood comes out. Because for sure, when he did it for like a while, like the head even stopped paining. Like I felt like at least I was kind of relieved. But after some time, it again came. The thing continued. For sure, I've taken tabs. I've done this and this. Gamba, I hate myself. Yeah.
So when did that begin?
It's worse. It started. I joined the boarding schools in my senior one. It started in senior two.
Senior two.
Why? Because of the coldness at school? I don't know. But it's really
There were no other people in your school where
like
there was coldness?
I'm not getting the question.
So the coldness, did it also bring the same to other people in your school?
Those who had asthma.
Asthma. So okay. So the things that you're describing, we can go back to the root, deal with the root, then find a way of. Because even if you go for surgery, my friend,
Because there is a
a
doctor.
very close friend of mine, he was also operated on up to date. He still has a problem with breathing, and he's always sneezing, but the kind of sneezing that never brings anything. And also smelling is a problem to him. So I can give you something basic. You begin with that, with prayer. While you pray, then we can pick on. Yeah?
But for real, I feel it's too much for me.
I can tell you something you can do. You do that, you test for the 21 days. Because usually after 21 days, we expect the body to start responding. 21 days. The body starts to do what it knows best. Then we can look at the progress. So you can grab your pen, and this one you do by yourself, not go to the doctor. You pick you grab a piece of paper, you write what I will tell you. You believe it by faith. It looks simple and stupid, but I've seen many people get healed in stupid ways. Yeah? I've seen people getting healed in simple and stupid what? Stupid ways. Stupid ways. There's a anyway, I will not mention this on air. But he's a man of rank. I went there, he was sick, he had diabetes and hypertension and some back problems. Then we did that. We did a couple of things on him, simple things, 2 weeks. Then he went back to the doctors. They told him, what have you been doing? Then he told them. Then they told him, whatever you're doing, you go on and do that. But they had prescribed what we saw on the right hand side in order to boost his, to help him get better. But you see, God's ways, they're always simple and stupid, so to say, in the eyes of men, but they are powerful. So you said you like a lot of fries, and we just looked through the morning up to now that those ones cause a lot of mucus. Yeah. So since you're a lady, this is now your task. You're gonna start even learning how to cook by yourself. Those fries you go and buy, or you do them yourself. So what's in your kitchen? Like oil. What do you use? Fortune, eh? Bidiko. These are brand names. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say, try to do a lot of boiled food. By boiled food doesn't mean it should be boring and not tasty. It should be nice and tasty, but learn the art of cooking. Almost boiled food with very little oil, if no oil at all. Then minimum salt. Then you will do something called, we usually brand name it, it's a protocol juice. It's a protocol vegetable juice, just that. And you do it. Then I'm going to tell you the ingredients. Then you can also detoxify your body with charcoal. Charcoal, yes, look how she's looking at me. The big men in industry learned it. That's why in 1945 they used it in gas masks, charcoal. Did you know that? That it was used in those poison, charcoal was used in those masks, but those masks were invented by an African American. So they used to put charcoal in those masks. So this is what you're going to do every day on a daily basis. You'll get charcoal. I don't know if you can go to the people who sell it. That is already prepared. A tin usually goes for 10 to 15,000. 10 to 15,000. I can get it for you, but you can also look it for some other people. Alternatively, if you cannot do it, if you cannot buy it, then you can do it. But the best one would be eucalyptus charcoal. It is one of the best. These others, yes, they work, but sometimes you don't even know what tree. It could be a poisonous tree or otherwise. But it also works. But the best one would be what? Eucalyptus. So when you get that eucalyptus charcoal, nicely prepared, you take 2 spoonfuls. That's why when you go to hospital and you're crying of stomach pain, sometimes the basa will give you what? Charcoal tablets. Have you seen them before? A jamu gas. Is there anything special about that charcoal? They only got this normal charcoal. They packaged it as what? Tablets. So you'll get that charcoal. I would recommend the powdered one. You take 2 spoons every day for 3 days. 3 days in the morning, when you've just woken up, you've said your prayer, then you go and get those 2 spoonfuls, put them in 2 glasses. In 1 glass, you drink of warm water, then you drink a second glass on an empty stomach. Then you leave it to go for an hour. Never drink charcoal with anything. It will go with anything. It takes whatever thing it comes into contact with. It is like a magnet. So when you drink it on empty stomach, trust me, it goes with the poison in the stomach. But you may have to do that all over the body. Yeah. But for starters, you drink it. Then after that 1 hour has passed, then you do this juice. You write down the ingredients, which we saw in the morning. No, so give me one which you saw in the morning. One which you saw in the morning. If you are alert. She does not remember any. Okay. You don't remember any on the list? We had cabbage. We had cabbage on the list. You do quarter cabbage, yeah? You do now this as your treatment, not as leisure. You do it for the first 21 days, then we see what happens after that, after helping the body to remove poison out of itself and giving it the right nutrients. Then we see how the body does respond. So you cut that into 4. You don't chop it, the whole of it into 4. You just cut off quarter. Yes. Then you do 2 tomatoes. Then you do 2 carrots. Then you do 1 big onion. Then you do 2 cloves of garlic. That one should suffice. You have a blender. Yeah. So you can blend that in the morning. You are lucky you have a blender. Others, you just pound with their hands. We used to pound that every morning for like 10 people. So you have to pound and pound and pound. So now there was a question which was addressed by Viola, yeah, by Jovia, and was like, are those things come with when they have been sprayed with? Now these some of the ways, now this is general for us, how we can always remove some of those toxins. One, You can always dump them in lemon water. You get water, you squeeze lemon, you dump the vegetables there. You let them sleep there for maybe an hour or 2 hours. Then after them, you wash. That's one way. Yeah? It could be warm water. Warm water, and you squeeze lemon. So you drop those fruits and veggies you're going to eat. That is one way of allowing poison to come out. Then the other way is, we know olusenyente. What do you do with it after cooking? Yes. Olusenyente. You don't cook with it. You just throw it away.
No? Personally, I put it in water.
You drink.
For me, I
That's dangerous to drink olusenyente. It should be pure powder. What do you do with olusenyente, Mami?
Obobeza.
You kubobeza food for him only. What else do you do with olusenyente? So, olufumbisa. So one other way of using olusenyente and ash is to take poison from the things you buy. Tomatoes, you go to the market, you buy tomatoes, you just wash and boil. Sometimes the chemicals are still there. But we know charcoal and ash. In the Old Testament, when people had sinned, what did they do? Ash and ebikutia. And they move around. It was a sign of cleansing. By the way, go and try carrot. Put it in ash water. What happens to it? It's burnt. So, because carrot is fragile. But you put those fruits, tomatoes, green pepper, you chew those ones. You get water, put ash, and maybe olusenyente, throw them there for an hour or two or sleep over. Then you remove them later on, wash them, and eat. That is one way also of trying to remove what? Neutralizing the poisons that have gone there. The chemistry there is advanced. I don't want to go there. But what we know is charcoal has been used historically, even in World War II, to take poisons, rather put in gas masks such that those people who are going to battle could not be poisoned. So it is a known fact that charcoal, if you don't believe it, why are they using it in hospital? Why do you go to a clinic and they give you charcoal tablets if it is not true? So that is the secret. Olusenyente is very good at taking poisons out of those fruits when you drop them there. Simple. So you will do, after allowing those things to sleep there, to be there, now for you can always do hot water, super hot water. You can even put salt, yeah? Super hot water. Then you drop the cabbage that you're going to do. Then the cabbage you can always wash with hot water, super hot water. Then there is tomato, what else? Yes, cucumber, carrot, those ones you can wash with lemon water or do the same to remove those poisons. Then you can do that juice, blend it and drink that every morning. That one you should drink every morning. So he's asking without sugar. No, you don't need sugar. So it's not a tasty one. For 1 glass should be enough for you every morning. So that one, that juice, it should help you to clean the body, do away with the acid which you have been piling in your body for some years, then allow the body, go on switching on the various genes that now we want to do this. There's a problem. You know, after the body taking care of those various aspects, removing the acid, now the chemistry start looking at the things that should not be in the body. So they start saying there is this and this. But now the body is busy. The kidneys are saying there's too much acid. The liver was also complaining there's too much poison. Then the lungs are also trying to, so there's a lot of congestion. But you take it out, cleanse the body, it will start now looking out, start working. Then after that, you say a little prayer and you say, please God help me to get better. And God will help you to get better. So, but you can always steam also. You can get, do you ever have problems with breathing? So you get eucalyptus oil. Eucalyptus oil is usually sold in the hospitals. So you can do like a drop in hot water and you steam yourself. Or there is this one called Mwambara Zitonya. You know that? You know that one? There's a tree that has spear-like leaves and red ones. You get those ones. Put cedar, drop in hot water, steam yourself on a daily basis, and ask God to help you. And God will surely help you. If you are having someone helping you, do some hydrotherapy. But we'll talk with that another day. So then we can look at the progress after 21 days.
Thank
Yes.
you. My questions are 3.
Yes.
2 are from close
time
friends.
allows.
Yes. 2 are from like about close friends,
Yeah.
and one is personal. Let me begin with these ones. There is this boy. He was born over normal, but there are things that went into his throat. I know you might be knowing that. Whenever his body rests, and he begins breathing, there are 2 things down here, because the doctor showed the mom, and the mom, unless they removed them, and she brought and showed me. But whenever he could sleep, these things, the doctors could say, they swell. And in the sleep, he could begin, they could see him until when the body is at rest, then they begin swelling. But when you could begin such, they wake him up, they keep him awake. Until when some time goes, then he goes back, they put him back to sleep. They could not leave him to oversleep transnight, though he was young. But they had to make sure at night, one wakes up, they wake him up, then later on the other parent will also wake up and do the same, so that they don't let him sleep for long. What could be the reason and sole cause? Because at first they did not know, because they would say it's sinus, until I one time told them about an ENT specialist who used to work on me some time back. So this guy checked. When he opened the throat, he told the mom, come and see the problem with your boy, besides all the medication you've been giving him. The mother got a chance to see what exactly could be the problem. They opened here and she saw these 2 things that were here. And they removed them. But over the problem, it came back again. For me, I left them because I did not want. But I just want to know what could have been the problem and what could be the best solution.
Now that's a surgical problem.
Where did it come from?
What?
These
exactly?
2 things here.
You see, when you see those 2 things, I don't even know what exactly you're talking about until I see them.
They were in the...
I cannot give a conclusive answer for that one
You've
because
not-
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Unless I see and I know, then... So I don't know. I have no answer to that.
I also saw it for the first time. Okay. Then the other one. It's about a sickle cell patient.
Yes.
At first, when this girl was young, there is this doctor, the doctor could cut here, below here. Then they put a paper with, a burning paper, they put it in a tin, they put it at where they have cut. And that I think that heat could suck out yellowish stuff from the lower back. They told them they had to do that thing, but it helps when this yellow stuff is it's out, then it can help this child not to get sickly.
They used to pull that from where?
Here. The
You
lower
mean the
back.
bones?
They could do it at the lower back. I could
When
see
you
that.
see the lower back, it can mean many things. It can
Then-
be CSF fluid from the
I
brain.
don't know. All I knew, they could cut. The mother every day could buy a razor blade. Every day they cut 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They put that paper and put that thing. And after some time, when this can falls by itself, and there is that yellowish stuff, until they do it until that thing begins bringing only blood. Then I don't know. What about it? What are those things for me, I asked myself, but they could not answer me.
Okay, first ask your question, then we'll come back to that.
Mine personal.
Yes. The one that is about you.
About me.
Yes.
Now about me. For me, her issues, the doctors told I think I had sinuses because that's what I knew when I was in P7. I had sinuses. But after 7 years, I began getting sputum. Whenever it's cold, it's very cold, sputum could come often. Like I could begin swallowing, like it could come into my throat until I feel like something has blocked the airway.
Mhm.
Then after some time, I could lose voice. Then at times I could begin dry coughing often, or I could completely suffocate. So later on, some doctors could diagnose asthma, some say allergy. But for me, I go for the immediate medication when it's there. But these days, if I feel it's coming, I just take some lemon. Unless it persists, then I take some little bit of Predin or Salbutam, one piece.
So how much of carbohydrates do you often take?
Carbohydrates?
Yes. On a daily basis. Porridge, cassava, rice, whatever is carbohydrates. Because that is what we've been looking at.
I don't eat. I usually eat. It depends on appetite. So I just eat, I think, rice. More of rice.
More of rice, eh? How
That's-
about drinking?
Drinking a
What
lot
do you
of
usually
water.
drink?
Water.
Only, eh?
Generally, water.
Okay. So, how about the diary?
Even bongo, I take bongo when I feel like I've taken some long time without eating. Because at times I don't want to eat, I take long to eat. So if I feel like I might get stomach problems, then I
you
take.
bongo.
But it's a. I
So
do much more.
usually we did not like exhaust all the issues to do with carbohydrates, but one of the things, and exactly why I had to address this, is if we can learn more to, because it is a process. These are things we've grown up doing and thinking it is right, but when it is wrong, out of the norm. How about if you also started looking out for wholesome ones? We begin with that because it is hard to trace right now. I cannot give a conclusive answer. That how about if we started with that? Wholesome carbohydrates, like we've talked about them, the common ones. By the way, for the rest of you and her, especially the women, one way of fortifying, because I know sometimes it's costly. You cannot go and buy a kilogram of what? Rice, not so? At 10 or 15,000. But one way of doing that is you can go and buy a kakuta kengano, wheat bran. You know wheat bran? Anyone heard of wheat bran? The quickest way, you can go to the supermarkets here in town, check out their shelves. They have wheat bran, akakuta kengano. Or if you have a nearby bakery, that is the best place to go, because they think, abalunda enkoko be babitwala. So you go as omulunzi w'enkoko and you say, akakuta kengano kaliwa. Oyagala bibyo 15, they can give you a half sack. So you go home, prepare it nicely, pick out the whatever, dry it, sun dry it, keep it in a dark in dry containers. So for every food that you're serving, this nambemu, which is useless, the rice, the porridge, the sauces, please get that bran and put it in the sauce. That way you'd reduce on the effect of the refined carbohydrates. Otherwise, they are a cause of many troubles. Yes, we were trying to go off the flesh-based diet, but carbohydrates are also another menace in society, especially with fries. So if you try to reduce that, that would be the nice beginning point. Then detoxing, as I explained to her. Then after 21 days, we can see. Time. Any other questions?
There's this question from the live streaming team.
Yes.
The ones which are viewing.
Okay.
How best can one begin and adapt to regular exercising in case one is weak at that?
Weak at that.
Thanks. Yeah.
The best way is to start. The best way is to do what? And when you start, avoid the temptation of stopping. Because if me, I stopped, I got some illness, then I stopped like 1 week, getting back can be trouble. So the best way the person watching online is start like tomorrow. Go. Okay, some people say like yesterday. So you can start tomorrow slowly. A journey of 1,000 steps begins with what? 1 step. So you start tomorrow slowly because you have not been used to it. Then the other day like that. By the end of the week, your body will be telling you at that time that you usually go out that it's time to go. Then you usually go. So that's the only solution I can.
For me, another thing I was asking,
Yes.
when these guys could diagnose me of asthma, I one time asked a doctor. I asked him, I've not been having like such an illness, like asthma, for 17 years. How come at almost that end of the 17th year, I get this thing?
Asthma, yeah.
So this guy told me, though I don't know whether it's true, he told me the problem was when I had what he said was sinus, the body produced hormones which later became excess and caused this thing. I still ask myself, then how can I regulate like that level? What he told me could be that
To regulate the hormones?
Yes.
You regulate what you eat. To regulate the hormones, you regulate what you eat. Sometimes it's an onset of age and, I'm not saying becoming very old, but adolescence and some of those things. Yes.
Oh.
But for starters, the best way to give the body, you see the body can be switched off or on, just like genes. Genes can be switched off or on, and it is us who do that. That is the secret behind GMOs. They have learned that science, and now that's why they can switch genes off, switch genes on, slice genes, remove genes, put genes. So the best way is begin with cleansing the body before you go for all those solutions, because each one will give you their solution. Begin with cleansing the body of the results of sin. The results of sin, how you've been eating and all those, the stress that has been bombarded on you by the environment. First cleanse the body. You go back to I've left that presentation in the morning, the things which we have to do on our part to go back in the ideal, in God's ideal. Then when you begin with that prayerfully, without getting too much complicated, you will start seeing changes in the 21 days. There are people we just talked, told them, go do this, and they are not even Adventists. They went and did. There was there is Zana Church. Now I'll give this as a testimony. I went to Zana Church. They had called me there they had a week of prayer. Yeah, it was an effort. But our churches, they usually give you 2 days, and those 2 days, it means 1 hour. So I went, did a cooking class there the first time, went back, did the next class. I went. Next time I went back, they invited me, said, a lady had come here with your gift. You stood here, taught things for her, she was writing. She went and did prayerfully. Her husband recovered. The lady came with a gift. So we've been to places, God's means are always what? Very simple, very seemingly stupid, not complicated. And they work. That one I testify. So just begin with what I told her, because your condition seemingly looks like hers. Yeah? Go do the cleansing, if you can do it like every day. Prayerfully. Ask God that, I've not also been right in this and this and this, but I need to get healed. Let's begin with that. Then we can build on that. Any other question, folks? Yes? Yes, sir. I didn't get your name. Joshua. Chikomeko. Yes, sir.
First of all, I appreciate you for the presentation and everything you've taken us through. But mine is about how many meals we should have a day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I really request that you help me and some other person here.
Okay.
Because you said Actually, it is said that breakfast must be heavy,
Mhm.
then lunch somehow lighter,
Mm.
and then nothing or something very small. And to some
Keeping-
of us in our cultures
Yes.
and how we've grown,
Yes.
supper is it's a big deal, Mike.
True. That is true.
Actually, to some of us, in the night, if you sleep without eating,
Yeah.
man, you'll not have a good sleep.
True.
Now, and also another challenge we face, especially with the youths, we are
Yeah.
we have sometimes, let me say, we have a hard time cooking, yeah?
Yes.
So in order for someone to have to prepare like a good meal for breakfast,
Mhm.
you have no time really. You
Absolutely.
just woken up like at 5 in the morning. Maybe you have to do a devotion, prepare. You have to rush to work, beat the traffic, and all those things. You literally just jump out of bed and move without. So breakfast, you'll think from work.
Mhm.
What can I get? So you really can't get good breakfast,
I
like
understand.
from somewhere. And then maybe some of us, the types of jobs we do or something, you really can't have a good meal for lunch. So at least either when you go back in the evening and you've had some time to prepare like a meal,
Mhm.
but again, it's when you shouldn't prepare a heavy meal. You get. So I really request that you help me. How can can you give us like a preamble on the simple meals, okay, that can be done for supper, so that I can probably try to adjust maybe as I get to that path of probably not having supper at all. But jumping out of the blue, like stop having supper, it feels way too hard because during day I haven't got what the body demands. And I feel in the evening it's
You
when
have had your
I
point,
can
point
compensate.
all over.
Yes. So
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chikomeko, for that question. Actually, when you go back to the book of Exodus, there was a time when the Jews went out to, like, you see, God had to reintroduce the Sabbath to the Jews who had forgotten many years, yeah? The Sabbath was the first sermon, I think, preached while God was trying to re-educate these guys. They told them, 6 days you shall go out, pick manna all over. And they had to do exercise. You don't find it just there around your tent. You go out, and if you go when the sun has risen, it has gone. So you had to go out very early in the morning, look for it, get it. But notice he also said this, that it was an omer. I think it's 2 omers or 1 omer for each man. 2 omers because it was a meal for morning and what? An omer for each man according to his eating. According to his what? The way God created us, we have different physiologies. That's why some girls get breasts at 10, others 16, others 18. And the men as well. You understand? We have different physiologies. We have different structures. Even consumption. To me, my consumption to you may be intemperance. Or to you, intemperance to me may be what? May be normal. So even Ellen White concurs with God. Says, for some people, 2 meals they are what? Enough. Like me, 2 meals are enough. And if I have like a real heavy one, juice and no, not cake. I said it's a temptation, but I can't take cake as breakfast. No. That is too degrading. Yeah, boy, though. And maybe banana cakes, if there is a lady who knows how to do those ones. Yes. Not even eggs. Banana cakes, as in banana cakes, with no eggs, with no whatever. Those ones maybe. If there is a lady who knows how to do those ones. But then, so what I'm saying is, to you, 3 meals could be what? Enough. But me, like most of the time I spend behind the screen, though it's a routine, I should go out in the morning, do some work if I will not like trek during the day. So, but either way, 2 meals are enough for me. If I take a third one, it is trouble. But the only difference between you and me is I make sure in the morning I have what? Yes, I have something decent. Then I'll have something lighter but decent later on in the day, and that's it. In the evening, in the evening, it could be maybe a slight porridge or nuts, and that's it. But a quick one, like now for your case, there is no like, you know, there's nothing hard coded that this is what. One quick way of preparing it is if you had your if you had like your porridge prepared at night, yeah, and it's left over in the flask, and then you had nuts. Yes. You had nuts, you had sim, you had any of these nuts. Omanyi, the way we have grown up thinking matoke is the food. Lumonde is the what? Balugu is the food, which is okay. We have grown up knowing the food which we saw our parents growing. But like I said, it is time we did somewhat change. Not that we are becoming, but for the nature of your work, in the morning, you are beginning a day. I don't know whether you're a brain worker or you're a manual worker. But for brain workers, you don't need a lot of carbohydrates. Very minimal. You can have nuts. You can have fruits, and that should be enough in the morning. You can have 2 bananas, you can have nuts, you can have sim. That should be enough for a brain worker. That is already proteins. If you want, you can add porridge, but porridge is still, it is semi-solid. You are encouraged to have solid. Eh? Why do you have to bring in that issue? I've already addressed it. If you want to sweeten it, you can sweeten it with those things I've told you. Kalodo is very cheap, by the way. You make a call where they do sugar canes, they'll get for you kalodo, like this. You keep it at home, because where we are going, why we call this the Third World War and the immune system, yeah? Third World War, immune system. The other thing that we're going to lose is our freedoms in the near future. If you really want to obey God, you may have to go out. I'm not saying go out right now, but prepare yourself. We don't know what's coming next year. They told us, yes, they're going to open up the economy, but we don't know whether Omicron will be something in Jan or Feb. I don't know what's going to happen. It may be so tough. They say, guys, go back. No one wants that, because it's happening all over Europe. And those are the what? Those are the triggers. So we don't know whether anything can happen. But what I'm trying to say is, in the near future, in the very near future, we may have to. So just prepare yourself. But that is something ideal I would give you. I'll give you nuts, and we have various nuts. Much as peanut is the most common one, but we have several. Invest in yourself sometimes. When you get your 50K, buy for your wife cashew nuts. There is now when you buy that, you have given her a challenge. She has to prepare cashew nut. Ngabo chiulira mu Luganda simanyi nebiva wano in northern Uganda. My friends told me, those ones for us we just pick them. They look like beans. They have bean shaped. But I was shocked. My friends told me, for us they are trees. We just get off the fruit, then throw out the seeds. But it's expensive here in Nakasero. 40K. 50K. But you can even have a kg. And now that means you have given her a challenge to go and learn how to prepare them. There is coconut. You go buy it. Instead of these others, you can because we don't need to take the same thing every day. We'll get bored. You can say, tomorrow I'll take what? Coconut milk. You go buy the powder. The last time I bought it was 5K. That's half a kg. Yeah, half a kg, I built it at 5 or 6K. You have given her a challenge. She learns how to prepare now porridge for you or coconut milk for you. Like that. Then the other day, when there is maybe time, then you can prepare the regular ones. We know lumonde. Lumonde can be prepared overnight without removing the what? They leave the yeah. I usually love that one. I usually love that one. I told someone here, my life is very simple. So I usually love that one. You get that one, you make it can be kept overnight. Yeah? Make sure I just keep it dry, and you have that in the morning. And peanut, you can even have it in the morning. And you eat that one as your breakfast. Wanji? Anti kakati tuine mulu mnokuso awenza kubuza breakfast walidechi. Lumonde nebinyewa. What? Lumonde nebinyewa? Nze siswala kulya lumonde nebinyewa kumacha. It's a decent meal. Because I have enough calories for the day. It has the echikuta. Yeah, but people are like, lumonde nebinyewa? You're very ready for that? Do that. Cassava even. Cassava. You understand? So we just have to go out of our comfort zones. You make sure you kubobeza, or you can preserve it somewhere, such that in the morning you do steaming. Yeah? In the morning while he's rushing, you do steaming. You get what you prepared at night, just do steaming on your stove or cooker, whatever. Woma izama sanyalaza. I don't usually like them. I like the local ways of doing them. Then you do that, eat.
Okay, another question.
Yes.
I'm sure we all love Chikomando, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the question is yes. Chikomando good, and in what quantities should we take it? Because some of us take it in large quantities. Yes.
Is it what? Quantity?
Yeah, quantities.
Is
it good?
Of Chikomando?
Yes, is Chikomando good?
First of all, Chikomando, why I usually hate it, yeah, these days. Why I usually hate it. One time, by the way, I got typhoid, serious typhoid. But I knew I got it from Chikomando somewhere. I ate Chikomando somewhere, I was in a rush. I knew I got, but I've lost those pictures. I would have showed those pictures. Some of the Chicomandos we did those days, yeah. Chikomando, if you can do it for yourself at home, it will be the best. But there, you're not sure of the hygiene. These guys recycle those plates. If you see the water they use, to clean the plates, you can die. And you know, these girls pass around. They keep touching those girls who take juice around. They keep handling those girls, then they handle the money, then he cuts for you, then he gives you. The what? You see what happens? Now on top of that, they give you a plate. So what happens is, yes, Chikomando is a quick fix for those who are rushing and even have no spouses, but it's not. It wouldn't be the best. It wouldn't be the best. You understand, Charles? Yeah. It's a quick fix, by the way. Health-wise. For those who are in a rush. But health-wise, no. I don't want to say yes. Okay. It is vegan, but no. The chapati is also refined. Yes, finally.
Okay, when you look at the screen...
Yeah. When I look at that?
The screen.
Yeah.
We're having... Outside there, we call it all food and beans.
Yeah. No, that's not whole food. There is that posho, there is that rice. Those are not whole foods.
Is it okay to eat like that? Because I hear sometimes it is not
to eat like that.
To have all everything.
Usually when we go out to restaurants, they say mere chinti mere yonna. They put that. Yeah, it feels good because you feel man zikuse. But there is again, you're giving the stomach too much. It would be recommended to have at least 2 articles. 2 articles, yeah. It's the recommendation. But you see the society we've grown in, you give your stomach too much. The stomach is working on rice, then say, hey, there is posho also. As it is working on posho, they say, hey, there is also lumonde. As it is working on, hey, there is also amayuni. Eh. No. So ideally, the way God created it is, today if you had yams maybe and pumpkin, tomorrow you will not be bored to have matoke, and then the other day, God is a God of variety. That's the beauty I love about him. He's a God of variety. So 2 articles or 3 articles at most. But this is what we are used to, the ideal, which we usually say, need the vegetarian diet, chili balanced. You understand? Does that answer? Right. Mm-hmm. Akoza? It depends on the context. You see, calodo is regulated sugar. This common one, the sucrose we eat that's refined, it's pure carbohydrates divested of minerals and fiber. The difference between, which I didn't talk about, the difference between refined and non-refined is when you eat the refined, sugar is regulated. It is given at regular intervals, which are good for the body. So in that sense, I would say yes. But otherwise, it's true. But even if you eat it and you don't work out still, you would bulge.
Josephine, I think you will give him that question and he will respond. We are supposed to have a meeting, worship committee after here. I think we have learned a lot today. Personally, I have learned. But you need to keep praying for us to put into practice. The health message is a very strong one, and it's of no value to us if we learn all these things about how to eat well, about how to do exercise and all this, and we don't put them into practice. So in your closing prayer, you'll pray for us that God helps us to implement. Then another thing, people have a challenge of cooking, knowing how to cook well. Even as we talk about them, these are cooked foods. And I think the skill, its absence also affects. People eat sometimes not because they don't know what the right thing is, but they are unable to prepare. So maybe when we have heard that you've taught others how to cook, maybe we shall invite you again and give you some more time and you show us how best we can do this. Otherwise, thank you so much for being with us. I know the questions are many. You're going to give us a closing prayer.
Let's pray. Our Father God in heaven, we are thankful that you have gifted this planet with not only your Son, Jesus Christ, all that heaven had, but you have also given us nice things to lighten our day. Every day, as your children, we have fruits, we have veggies, we have nuts, we have cereals, different colors that are good to the eyes. And we know the enemy of our souls always hates that. But I pray that the lessons we've had today, you give us the power. It's not easy to start a journey that you've not been used to. But also you provide the resources that we may get those things that delight the soul, that we may do whatever it takes for our bodies to be in good shape as we also prepare to exit and go to the country. I pray that you be with the rest of my brethren, the ones online and the ones here, throughout this period of festivity.